Hello everybody, my name is Bragster and welcome back to some shorthand videos. I haven't recorded these in a while, unfortunately. The reason why is quite simply, I've been doing a lot of work lately and I've also moved back to uni, if you can tell by the background. So it's been a while since I've recorded one of these, so the day I'm recording this, a little behind the scenes, is the 24th of Feb. The day where I actually did the work was, let me just find a date that I have in here, about the 11th of Feb, so it's been nearly 2 weeks. It will definitely be about 2 weeks by the time this video comes out of, and by the time that, you know, all of this come out, it would have been over 2 weeks since I've recorded one of these, and it's been a bit bad by me, but what can I do? I've been busy. So at the moment, another behind the scenes thing, I'm on about unit 14 now. This is a video on unit 10. This is using vowel indicators as word endings. So we have got ing, ingle, ong. So we've got ing, ingle, ang, ong, eng, ingle, angle, ong, and eng. Then we've got ank, ink, onk, and that's about it. This unit has a lot in, but this makes your life easier. I really enjoyed this unit. I feel like they really placed this unit perfectly straight after unit 9. If you struggled with unit 9, this might be able to help in a way, because it shortens some things down and it gets you to use vowels a little bit more, or at least vowel indicators, so you can get a bit of practice using them, because let's be honest, we haven't had much practice with vowels at this point. So it's good to see. What I do like though is they always give you plenty of examples. Like, just look at this, they give you plenty, absolutely plenty of examples in this one, so you really do understand the theory. Obviously if you want to drill them, as in like write them multiple times, I don't personally. That's simply because I feel like if I write the rule enough times, which is what this does, I kind of understand it. But if you're more someone that works by repetition rather than patterns, like I work more with patterns. If you're someone who works more with repetition, drilling is a good thing to do. Write it multiple times, just fill up the line. It usually works. So ing is simply an I indicator next to a normal. So you start the word, you do whatever you need to do with the word, and then you add an I indicator next to it. Disjoined, don't join it up, just put it right next to it but not quite joined. That is ing. Ingle is a disjoined downwards ow. It's right on the bottom here. You don't see many ingles, if I'm completely honest with you. You really don't see many ingles. Although the only thing is maybe like a willingly or something like that, an ingly, so something like that, where it's a downward disjoint downward owl with a I indicator on it. That is possibly the one you might come across more often, but it's still useful because it gets rid of 5 letters in one there, which makes things a lot quicker for you. And bear in mind, I've done a few dictations recently. I haven't done many, let's be honest. I'm trying to get the theory down. I've made that pretty obvious for a while. I'm trying to get more of the theory down, really understand each and every word, and then it's all about speed. It's not about, oh, what does this word mean, what does that word mean? It's all about speed. If you're someone that can multitask very, very well and learn 2 different things at once, so the speed element and that, go ahead and do it. It's just I've been focusing more on the theory. Then we had an exercise which I think I did reasonably well with. I feel like there's just been, obviously recently I have been complaining quite often about how these exercises have been in terms of the way the words the sentences sound. So the one was the boys mingled easily with the girls at the party. I don't really remember the last time I heard mingled in a sentence nowadays, but it was there, and it was alright. I feel like a lot of the moment is you might have forgotten a lot of the things from early on in the book. Now, you've got two options with that. You can either carry on, which is what I've been doing, carry on, get them wrong. If I get them wrong, write them down, make sure I understand it. If it's something really difficult, I have an extra notepad. So what I do with this notepad is anything that I get wrong that I've either never seen before, or I don't remember seeing, or maybe that I really should reiterate to myself, I write it down on this pad. Now what I do is at the end of the week, at the end of every week, because you should be doing some every day, at the end of every week I write down the special outlines from the week. So the outlines that are special to me in the way of I got them wrong, I need to improve. So I would write them down all in a list, and that's my method of drilling, is anything that I got wrong that's not just like a silly mistake or something that I really should get right, you know, or maybe like I got sales wrong, which is SLS. I just didn't click in my head, I didn't click at that. It wasn't necessarily one that I found extremely difficult, it was just one that for whatever reason I didn't think of at the time. However, like there's certain ones like celebrate that I've come across recently, but we'll get to that later, that's not here. But I thought I'd rather than talking about a method that I've come up with when I came up with it in I think unit 12, I don't want to wait until then, I may as well tell you now, and then you guys can get a little bit of a head start as to where I was at the time. But that's something I definitely recommend, is doing maybe like special outlines of the week, so you get the ones that you got wrong before, you get them down again, and it just refreshes your brain, because the likelihood is if you haven't remembered them once, you might forget them twice. You shouldn't necessarily forget them 3 times, and that's where the repetition comes in. And doing the special outlines of the week, you've got it wrong, you've seen it, which usually works anyway, then you've written it down once at the time that you got it wrong, and then you've written it a third time later on in the week where you might necessarily have forgotten you got that one wrong. And it's refreshing your brain. If any of you done like anything like psychology and really learnt about the brain, you'll understand what I mean by, you know, it goes to the back of your brain. In simple terms, it goes to the back of your brain. It's still there, but you've kind of forgotten about it. Doing it again brings it back to the front. The more times you do that, the more it sinks in, which is usually why doing the exercises is a great thing, because it goes over so much of the things from the past, it then becomes singed in your brain. But that's something I definitely recommend. Get a little notepad, doesn't have to be that big. A5 I think that is, or something, it might even be smaller than that, to be honest. Yeah, it's much smaller than an A5. Just get a normal reporter's tiny little notepad. It doesn't even have to be a reporter's notepad. Just get a really small notepad and just write stuff down, almost like a scrap piece of paper notepad. It's quality stuff. It really has benefited me, and I've remembered a lot more stuff since I've started doing that. So I'd highly recommend that. Anyway, back to this. So I did the exercise, I got things wrong, and then we got to the ang, ong, ung, and eng stuff, which is all reasonably simple. It is ang is a disjoint A, ong is a disjoint O, ung is a disjoint U, and an E is a disjoint an eng is a disjoint E. Obviously, the disjoint indicators of E and U are the exact same. So it's all about context. Again, I know I keep talking about context. It's all about context. That is exactly when you'll work it out. Is it great that a lot of things are represented by the same things? No. Is it great that a lot of them require context? No. However, they are just something you are going to get used to over a period of time. Similar to the indicators used for inge, ange, onge, unge, and enge, where basically it's got an E on the end of so you got ang, ong, ung, and eng, but it's got an e on the end. It's the exact same. It's a disjoint A, disjoint E, doesn't change. So when you're trying to work out what the words are, do sometimes think maybe it's an E on the end, and it might make more sense. But again, that's something you'll probably know either by context, or if you don't recognise the word but recognise the word if you add an E on it. Then we've got some special outlines, which is the things, and then we've got like I think is on there. Maybe I think has already happened or came, but we've got arrange, everything, anything, nothing, and something. So if you're adding a thing on the end, so if it's something, you put SM and then the I indicator. So the I indicator means ing, but it also means thing. But when you're writing thing on its own, it is the entire word. So do be careful of that. It's only like those special outlines that you ever reduce thing to just an I indicator, but it just makes it quicker basically. Word groupings as well is when like something else, etc. is put into it. Again, they're kind of like special outlines. They might sometimes be difficult, you might not like them, but they are quicker, they are easier, and they are something you're just going to have to singe into your brain. And if you don't come across it very often, as I said, and if you get it wrong later, just pull it in your little notepad. At the end of the week, come back to it and just write it a couple of times and refresh your brain, and hopefully you'll do better next time. Well, I say hopefully, you will do better next time, because if you've forgotten 10 of them and you write down 8 of them, you write down all 10 and next time you remember 8 of them, you've improved by 8 words. And that's the way you gotta think. Even if you've only improved by 1 word, you're still improving. So then we've got exercise 10.2, which, to be honest, I did really well in. Again, I got most of the things right, and you're probably sick of me saying that, because some of you will probably get a lot wrong, and that's fine. It just means you might have to make more corrections, you might have to redo more exercises than what I'm having to do, but do not feel embarrassed, do not feel as though that's not a good thing, because practice makes perfect, and if you aren't perfect, the best thing to do is practice. So yeah, I highly recommend you go away and do that. Do not hold yourself back, do not stop from doing things just because other people are racing ahead. Go at your own pace. Shorthand is all about going at your own pace. You cannot speed run this. You can't. It's a language. You cannot speed run any kind of language. You can't do that. So what you've got to do is you've got to take the time you need to do it. And sometimes that might mean that you have to spend more hours a day on it. So what? So what? As long as you get to the end goal, and as long as you can write it at the end, doesn't matter how long you took. Does anyone ever, would you ever turn up to a job interview and go, I can write shorthand, I've got the proof, I've got the certificate, and they go, well, how long did it take you to learn that? No, they don't. They just say, brilliant, because that's what they want. It's not about how long it takes you, it's about the final product. Then we've got ank, ink, onk, and unk, which is virtually the exact same as the ing, ang, and all of those, but because it's in NK, it's the indicator that you've got for the specific ones. It's the indicator, and then it's a C. So the C represents the k part of it. So you've got the ak. So it's like, so sank is an S with an A and a C. So basically, AC is ank, but remember they're disjoined as well. That's important, and that's where you get the difference between maybe SAC normally and then the anks. I don't know a situation where that will come across on that specific one, but there will be a few where they would come across. So just be wary of that, because it makes it a lot easier having these disjoined ones. Then we've got the special outlines and the word groupings, which are really good. Although the special outlines, the word groupings are more important than the special outlines. The special outlines are enclose, enclosed, and enclosure. You won't come across those very often unless you're talking maybe about a zoo. I don't know about enclosed and enclosed. I don't really know a situation where you would come across that. Enclosure, though, I can imagine coming up if you're talking about a zoo or something like that. The word groupings are more important because it's thank you for your, I think is in there as well. So they're more important because they'll come across a lot more often than the special outlines in there. And then you got another exercise which I don't know, let me just check how I did on that. I did reasonably well. The one thing I might want to point out, if it's there, and we have a look. So yeah, so we've done, so with V's, so V's go into R's very easily, so the V goes straight into an R. Remember that comes up in this exercise. I'd highly recommend maybe writing that outline out and then showing that, especially when they've put cover, which is the word that, and then they put the with it, so the H represents it because it joins really nicely. Just be wary of that. A lot of the time the word the comes across quite often just because they just add basically they just add the H on it and it adds the onto the end even though it's just one letter, so that can sometimes confuse you, so just go over that because it definitely confused me. But yeah, I was really happy with how this unit went. I really like this unit. I think this changes a lot of things. It makes these words a lot better. It's maybe a lot more pattern based, and as I work in patterns very well, it made it a lot easier for me to do. The next one is a hard one. The next one was the letter F. Now, the letter F is a pain in the arse. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's an absolute pain in the arse, as it's reasonably hard to write, and this unit makes it a little bit harder with the letter F. It makes it easier in terms of the actual words and really making you understand how the letter F works, but it makes some things more complicated. It says how it blends, how it represents other things, and the next one's a lot less pattern based, it's a lot more factual. So I think I struggled a little bit on it. I think I had to take my time a little bit more, really try and look at it, really try and understand it. And if that's the same for you, just go away and do that. It doesn't matter how long you take. As I said, no one's going to ask you how long it took you to learn shorthand. They're only going to ask you whether you know it or not. So yeah, that was Unit 10. I hope that some of those tips were good, because then what's the point of me doing these videos? But hopefully, just from a student's perspective, these are helping you out as the units go on. If you struggled with a certain unit, you can come to these, see what I've kind of said about them, and really see, oh, maybe I can try that trick out that, you know, I've done, which would be great. If you do want to ask any questions, do just put them down in the comments down below. If you are enjoying these, do hit the like button, because these videos are ones where obviously it's part of the my journey into journalism thing, but if you guys don't enjoy these, I won't produce them. But it seems like you guys do kind of like them, and they are helping some of you, which is just good to see. But yeah, hit that like button if you like them. Comment anything down below if you need any help or anything. Either just put them down in the comments or DM me on Twitter. My Twitter is always in the description down below. If you're new here, please do subscribe for more stuff like this, and I shall see all of you in the next video. See ya!